Elon Musk buys entire apartment complex to help struggling families. It was a chilly autumn morning when the residents of Greenview apartment complex woke up to find flyers plastered across their doors. The bold letters at the top read, "Important announcement, community meeting at noon." Confusion and worry spread quickly among the tenants. For months, rumors of new ownership had fueled anxiety. Would their rents skyrocket? Would they be forced to leave the homes they had built their lives around? Families whispered nervously as they gathered in the courtyard, bundled in jackets to shield themselves from the brisk wind. Among them were single mothers, retired veterans, young couples trying to make ends meet, all bound by the fear of an uncertain future. At precisely noon, a sleek black car pulled up in front of the building. Murmurs rippled through the crowd as a tall, familiar figure stepped out, none other than Elon Musk. For a brief moment, silence fell over the crowd. Why was the world-famous tech mogul here? Elon adjusted his jacket and stepped onto a small platform set up in the center of the courtyard. His eyes swept across the faces before him, faces filled with equal parts hope and apprehension. "Good afternoon, everyone," he began, his voice calm yet commanding. "I know you've all been wondering what's going on. Let me assure you, what I'm about to share will be good news." A collective breath seemed to release from the crowd, but the tension remained palpable. "I've spent my life focused on technology and innovation," Elon continued. "But recently, I've come to realize that innovation isn't just about building rockets or electric cars. It's about improving lives, real lives, right here on the ground." He paused, letting the weight of his words sink in. "That's why I've purchased this apartment complex," he announced. "Not to profit from it, but to ensure that every family here has a safe, affordable place to call home." The courtyard erupted into gasps and cheers. Tears welled up in the eyes of many residents, unable to believe what they were hearing. A woman in the front raised her hand, her voice trembling. "So, you're not raising our rent?" Elon shook his head. "No, quite the opposite. My team and I will be working to renovate the complex, improve living conditions, and make this community a model for affordable housing, all without increasing your costs." The crowd burst into applause, some residents embracing each other in relief. For a moment, it seemed like the world had slowed down. The words, "no rent increase," echoed in the minds of the residents, washing away months of anxiety. A middle-aged man in a faded jacket wiped his eyes with the sleeve of his coat. A young mother clutched her daughter tightly, unable to hide her smile. But Elon wasn't finished. "Beyond keeping your rent affordable," he said, "I want to go a step further. This isn't just about maintaining the status quo, it's about creating something better. We're going to transform this complex into a thriving community with state-of-the-art amenities, job support programs, childcare services, and educational opportunities. You'll not only have a place to live but also a place to grow." The crowd erupted in applause again, this time louder and more heartfelt. Strangers turned to each other, shaking hands and hugging as though they had just heard the news of a lifetime, which, in a way, they had. Elon smiled and held up his hand to quiet the crowd. "I believe in this project, and I believe in you. This community will be a shining example of how we can build a better future together. My team will be here on site, working with you to ensure this transformation meets your needs. And remember, this isn't just my initiative, it's yours. Let's build it together." That day marked a turning point for Greenview. Over the following weeks, construction crews moved in to begin renovations. Fresh coats of paint brightened the once dull facades, and broken playground equipment was replaced with new, vibrant structures. Landscapers planted trees and flowers, transforming barren patches of land into lush green spaces where children could play safely. More importantly, Elon didn't just delegate the project to a faceless team of managers. He was there, walking through the complex regularly, talking with residents, and personally checking on progress. He listened carefully to the community's feedback, making adjustments based on their needs. One morning, he stopped by the newly renovated community center, where a group of elderly residents were gathered for coffee and conversation. "What do you think of the changes so far?" he asked, genuinely curious. An older woman named Margaret smiled at him warmly. "I've lived here for 30 years, and I've never seen anything like this," she said. You've brought life back to this place. It feels like home again. That's exactly what I hoped to hear, Elon replied. But we're just getting started. Soon, job training programs and after-school tutoring sessions were in full swing at the community center. A tech lab was installed, complete with laptops and internet access for children to study and residents to search for job opportunities. There was even a weekend coding class for kids, taught by volunteers from Elon's own companies. Taylor, a single mother of two, was one of the first to sign up for the job training program. She had struggled for years to find stable work, balancing part-time jobs and raising her children on her own. But within weeks of joining the program, she had learned new skills and landed a full-time job at a local company. "This program changed my life," Taylor said one afternoon during a community event. "I finally feel like I have a future again, and it's all because someone believed in us enough to invest in this community." Word of Elon's bold move spread like wildfire, drawing media attention from around the world. Reporters flocked to Greenview, eager to cover the story of a tech billionaire using his fortune to transform an ordinary apartment complex into a beacon of hope. During one interview, a journalist asked, "Why did you choose this particular community for your initiative?" Elon thought for a moment before answering. "Because it represents what's possible. Greenview is full of hardworking, resilient people who just needed a chance. My goal was to create a model that could be replicated in other communities, a blueprint for how we can address the affordable housing crisis in a meaningful way." The reporter nodded. "And do you think it's working?" Elon smiled. "I think we're off to a great start. The real success will be measured in the lives we change, not just the buildings we renovate." Back at the complex, life continued to blossom in new and unexpected ways. Neighbors who had once barely known each other began organizing community events, barbecues, movie nights, and weekend cleanups. The sense of unity and pride in Greenview grew stronger with each passing day. One afternoon, a young boy named Malik approached Elon as he walked through the playground. "Mr. Musk," Malik said shyly, "my mom says you're a superhero." Elon chuckled. "A superhero, huh? That's a pretty big title." Malik nodded seriously. "You saved us. You're a hero to me." Elon knelt down, looking Malik in the eyes. "You know what? You're the real hero. It takes courage to believe things can get better. Never lose that, okay?" "Okay," Malik said with a grin before running off to join his friends. As the months went by, Greenview became a shining example of what could happen when people came together with a shared vision. The initiative didn't just change the physical appearance of the complex. It changed lives. Unemployment rates in the community plummeted. Children's school performance improved dramatically. And perhaps most importantly, hope became a tangible part of daily life. Elon's vision had come to life in ways even he hadn't fully anticipated. But he knew it was only the beginning. One evening, as he stood on the rooftop of the newly completed community center, looking out at the lights of Greenview, he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. This wasn't about headlines or recognition. It was about something far more profound: the power of kindness and the belief that even the smallest actions could change the world. And in that moment, he knew there were countless other communities waiting for the same opportunity. The transformation of Greenview had become a story that reached far beyond the local news. National headlines praised Elon's groundbreaking approach to solving the housing crisis, while social media was flooded with photos and stories from residents whose lives had been changed forever. But Elon wasn't one to sit back and celebrate. For him, this was a blueprint, a first step toward a much larger vision. He spent countless late nights reviewing expansion plans, discussing new opportunities with his team, and working with community leaders to replicate the success of Greenview in other cities. One afternoon, as he sat in a makeshift office at the community center, Taylor, the single mother who had found stable work through the job training program, knocked on the door. "Got a minute?" she asked with a smile. "Always," Elon replied, gesturing for her to sit. "I just wanted to say thank you," Taylor began. "Not just for what you've done for me, but for what you've done for all of us. I feel like I finally have a future, and so do my kids. I've never had that before." Elon leaned back in his chair, his eyes thoughtful. "I'm glad to hear that, but the credit belongs to you. You put in the work. You believed things could get better, even when it wasn't easy. That takes real strength. Taylor's eyes welled with tears. I think a lot of us had forgotten how to believe in something better. But you reminded us. Later that week, Elon hosted an open forum at the community center, inviting residents to share their ideas for the next phase of the project. The room was packed with people eager to contribute. A young man stood up, clearing his throat nervously. What about a mentorship program for teens? I think it would be great for them to have role models who can help guide them toward a better future. Elon nodded, making a note. That's a great idea. We'll set it up. An elderly woman raised her hand. Could we create a community garden? It would be a good way for neighbors to come together and grow fresh produce. Absolutely, Elon said with a smile. Let's make it happen. One by one, residents shared their ideas, some big, some small, but all driven by a common goal, to make Greenview the best community it could be. Construction on the new community garden began almost immediately. Volunteers from all over the city came to help, planting rows of vegetables and flowers, building raised beds, and installing benches where neighbors could sit and chat. On the day the garden officially opened, the entire community gathered to celebrate. Children ran through the rows of plants, picking ripe tomatoes and showing them off proudly. Elderly residents sat on the benches, enjoying the sunshine and reminiscing about the past. At the center of it all, Elon stood with a quiet smile, watching the scene unfold. This was what he had envisioned, a place where people could thrive, not just survive. But as the garden flourished, so did Elon's next challenge, expanding the Greenview model to other cities. The demand was overwhelming. City leaders from across the country reached out, eager to bring the initiative to their communities. It was a daunting task, even for someone like Elon, but he was determined to make it work. He assembled a team of experts, architects, urban planners, social workers, to help scale the project while preserving the core values that had made Greenview a success. We're not just building buildings, he told his team during one meeting. We're building hope. Never forget that. Months later, the first expansion sites were selected. In each city, Elon made a point to visit personally, meeting with local leaders and residents, listening to their stories, and learning about their unique challenges. One evening, after a long day of meetings, he sat down for dinner with a group of community leaders in a small Midwestern town. We're excited to have you here, said the town's mayor. We've been struggling for years to address our housing crisis, but nothing seemed to work. What you've done at Greenview gives us hope. Elon leaned forward, his eyes serious. It's not about me. It's about the people in the community. If we work together, there's no limit to what we can achieve. Back in Greenview, life continued to thrive. The mentorship program had taken off, with dozens of teens pairing up with local professionals who helped guide them toward their goals. The tech lab had expanded, offering new classes in robotics, app development, and even virtual reality. One day, as Elon walked through the complex, he stopped to watch a group of kids working on a robotics project. Hey, Mr. Musk, one of the kids called out. Check out our robot. Elon crouched down, examining the small, wheeled robot. This is impressive. What's its purpose? It delivers snacks, the boy said proudly. We're still working on the voice command feature. Elon laughed. I like the way you think. Keep it up, you're going to build some amazing things one day. As the months turned into years, Greenview became a beacon of hope for communities across the country. The lessons learned there were applied to new projects, each one building on the success of the last. But through it all, Elon remained grounded in the simple truth that had driven him from the start. Change begins with people. One evening, as he stood on the rooftop of the community center, looking out at the city lights, he reflected on how far they had come. Greenview had grown into something far greater than he had imagined. It wasn't just a place to live. It was a home, a community, a testament to the power of belief and compassion. And as long as there were communities in need, he knew his work was far from over. As Greenview thrived, it became clear that Elon's vision was not just about helping one community, it was about igniting a movement. News outlets from around the world continued to feature stories about how Greenview had transformed from a neglected complex into a thriving, self-sufficient community. The demand for similar projects grew louder with each passing day. Yet, with success came new challenges. There were skeptics, critics who questioned whether the model could truly be sustained on a larger scale. Some labeled it a publicity stunt, while others doubted that the same results could be replicated in cities with different demographics and larger populations. Elon welcomed the criticism with his trademark calm. "If people doubt it, that just means we have to work harder to prove them wrong," he told his team during a strategy meeting. "Let's show the world what's possible." At the same time, Elon remained a constant presence in Greenview. He often stopped by unannounced, spending time with the residents and checking on the progress of various projects. It wasn't unusual to see him playing chess with the elderly in the community center or helping kids with their science projects in the tech lab. One sunny afternoon, he was strolling through the newly completed community garden when he came across Malik, the young boy who had once called him a superhero. "Hey, Mr. Musk," Malik called out, running up to him. "Want to see something cool?" "Of course," Elon said, following Malik to a small raised bed where a row of tomatoes was growing. "I grew these all by myself," Malik said proudly. "The garden lady showed me how, and I've been taking care of them every day." Elon crouched down, examining the plants with genuine interest. "You did an amazing job, Malik. Taking care of something and watching it grow, it's one of the best feelings in the world." Malik beamed. "Someday, I'm gonna grow the biggest garden in the city." "I believe you will," Elon said, standing up. "And when you do, make sure you invite me to see it." The garden became a symbol of the community's renewal, a place where neighbors came together, shared stories, and supported one another. It was there, on a warm summer evening, that a young woman named Sophia approached Elon with a request. "I've been thinking," she said hesitantly. "Would it be possible to start a small business incubator here in the complex? There are so many talented people with great ideas, but they just need a little help to get started." Elon nodded thoughtfully. "That's a brilliant idea. Let's set it up. We'll provide mentorship, workspace, and seed funding for promising projects." Sophia's eyes lit up. "Thank you. This is going to change so many lives." Within weeks, the business incubator was up and running. Residents who had once struggled to make ends meet were now launching their own businesses. Everything from catering services and artisanal crafts to tech startups and social enterprises. One of the first success stories was a catering company run by a group of single mothers who had bonded over their shared love of cooking. With the incubator's support, they secured contracts with local businesses and quickly became a household name in the city. Another standout was Malik's mother, who turned her passion for urban gardening into a business that provided fresh produce to local restaurants. Her company, aptly named Greenview Harvest, soon became one of the most sought-after suppliers in the region. "I never thought any of this would be possible," she said during an interview with a local news station. "But now, I'm living a dream I didn't even know I had." The momentum continued to build. Greenview became more than just a community. It became a hub of innovation and entrepreneurship. People from all walks of life came to learn from its success and take those lessons back to their own neighborhoods. One day, during a visit from a group of city leaders, Elon stood at the front of the community center and addressed the crowd. "Greenview is proof that we don't have to accept the status quo," he said. "We have the power to create something better, something that lifts people up and brings them together. This is just the beginning. Imagine what we can accomplish if we apply these principles to every community in need." The room erupted into applause, but Elon's gaze remained steady. He knew there was still much work to be done. Even as Greenview flourished, Elon never lost sight of the individual lives that had been changed. One afternoon, he received a letter from Taylor, the single mother he had spoken with months earlier. The letter read, "Dear Mr. Musk, I just wanted to say thank you again. Since we last spoke, my life has taken an incredible turn. I've been promoted at work, and my kids are doing better in school than ever before. We've even been able to start saving for the future. None of this would have been possible without your belief in us. You gave us more than just a place to live. You gave us hope. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Taylor." Elon folded the letter carefully and placed it in his desk drawer. It was moments like these that reminded him why he had started this journey in the first place. One summer evening, as the sun set over Greenview, the entire community gathered for a special event, the grand opening of the business incubator's new headquarters. Families brought picnic blankets and homemade dishes, filling the courtyard with laughter and the aroma of freshly baked bread. Elon stood at the center of it all, surrounded by the people whose lives had become intertwined with his mission. As he looked around, he felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. He stepped up to the microphone, raising a glass of sparkling cider. "To Greenview," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "To resilience, to hope, and to the power of community. May we continue to grow and inspire others to do the same." The crowd erupted into cheers, and for a moment, everything felt perfect. And in that fleeting, golden hour, Elon knew that the seeds they had planted in Greenview would continue to grow for generations to come. The grand opening of the business incubator marked a pivotal moment not just for Greenview but for the city at large. What had once been dismissed as an overly ambitious experiment was now the pride of the entire region. News stations documented the event live, eager to capture this beacon of hope in an increasingly divided world. Elon stood at the heart of it all, watching the excitement unfold. The courtyard buzzed with life, families chatting over shared meals, young entrepreneurs giving impromptu tours of their newly launched ventures, and children racing around with uncontainable energy. In the middle of the celebration, a local journalist approached Elon with a question that had been on everyone's mind. "Mr. Musk, what inspired you to take on this project? It's rare to see someone of your stature so deeply involved in a community initiative." Elon thought for a moment, his eyes scanning the joyful crowd before answering. "I've always believed that innovation should serve humanity," he said. "It's easy to focus on building the next groundbreaking technology or colonizing other planets, but what about the people right here who just need a second chance? This project is a reminder that the most powerful changes often begin in the simplest of ways, by believing in people." The journalist nodded, clearly moved by his response. "And do you think Greenview is just the start?" Elon smiled knowingly. "It's definitely just the start." In the weeks following the grand opening, the business incubator became a hotbed of creativity and opportunity. Entrepreneurs flocked to Greenview, eager to collaborate, share ideas, and launch new ventures. For many, it was their first real chance to turn their dreams into reality. Among them was a young woman named Ava, a recent college graduate with a passion for clean energy. She pitched an idea for affordable, solar-powered charging stations that could be installed in urban neighborhoods, providing free power to residents while promoting sustainability. Elon was instantly intrigued. "Let's do it," he said after hearing her pitch. "We'll set up a pilot program right here in Greenview." Within months, the first solar-powered charging stations were installed throughout the complex, drawing national attention for their innovative design and community-focused approach. Ava's success inspired others to think bigger. Soon, the incubator was home to projects ranging from renewable energy solutions and smart home technologies to social initiatives aimed at tackling food insecurity and improving mental health support. But even as Greenview soared to new heights, Elon never forgot its most vulnerable residents. He made it a point to visit the elderly, ensuring they had access to the services they needed. He worked closely with social workers to create programs for at-risk youth, offering mentorship, scholarships, and vocational training. One evening, while attending a community potluck, he sat down next to Mrs. Robinson, a retired schoolteacher who had lived in Greenview for over 3 decades. "I've seen a lot of things in my time," Mrs. Robinson said, her eyes twinkling. "But I've never seen anything like this. It's like a miracle." "It's not a miracle," Elon replied with a smile. "It's the power of people coming together." Mrs. Robinson patted his hand affectionately. "Well, whatever it is, you've done something special here. You gave us our home back." The impact of Greenview's transformation extended far beyond its borders. City leaders from across the country reached out to Elon, eager to replicate the model in their own communities. Conferences were held, partnerships formed, and a national movement began to take shape. Yet, for Elon, the true measure of success wasn't the headlines or the accolades. It was the stories: the single mother who had started her own business, the young boy who had grown a garden from nothing, the once isolated residents who now had a community to call their own. Each story was a testament to the resilience and strength of the human spirit. Months later, during a follow-up interview with a national news network, The host asked Elon a question that caught him off guard. "What's next for you, Mr. Musk? You've achieved so much already. What's the next big challenge?" Elon leaned back in his chair, his expression thoughtful. "There's always something new on the horizon. But for now, my focus is on continuing to build communities like Greenview. If we can create more places where people feel seen, valued, and supported, then I think we'll be on the right track." The host smiled. "And do you have a message for anyone watching who might be inspired by your work?" Elon looked directly into the camera. "Yes. Never underestimate the power of kindness and community. Even the smallest act can change someone's life. We all have the ability to make a difference." Back in Greenview, life continued to evolve. The solar-powered charging stations became a model for other cities, and Ava's project expanded nationally. The community garden grew into a full-scale urban farm, supplying fresh produce to schools and shelters across the city. But perhaps the most surprising development was Malik's latest venture, a robotics club for kids, which quickly gained popularity. With Elon's support, the club received state-of-the-art equipment and soon became known for its creative innovations. One day, Malik and his friends presented Elon with their latest project, a robot designed to assist elderly residents with grocery shopping and light household tasks. "We call it HelperBot," Malik explained proudly. "It can carry groceries, remind people to take their medicine, and even tell jokes." Elon chuckled. "I love it. You guys have outdone yourselves." As he watched the kids demonstrate HelperBot's features, Elon felt a deep sense of fulfillment. This was the future he had always believed in. A future built not just on technology but on compassion, collaboration, and endless possibility. Years later, when people spoke about Greenview, it wasn't just as a place but as a symbol, a living reminder of what was possible when people came together with a shared purpose. Elon continued to expand the model across the country, each new community building on the lessons learned at Greenview. And with every new project, the same message rang true: change was possible, hope was real, and together, anything could be achieved. Standing once again on the rooftop of the community center, Elon looked out at the city skyline. The sun was setting, casting a warm glow over Greenview. Children's laughter echoed in the distance, blending with the hum of life that now filled the once-forgotten complex. A soft breeze brushed against his face, and for a moment, everything seemed perfectly aligned. He had set out to make a difference, and in doing so, he had found something far greater than he had ever imagined. Not just a project, not just a community, a legacy, and it was only just the beginning.